stretch your rabbit. Have you ever felt that this simple gesture has a power that goes beyond the physical? That something hidden, subtle, almost mystical is released when you raise your head to the sky, as if answering an invisible calling. It's not just a posture correction. It's an ancient invocation. It's a gesture that speaks the language of the soul without words. Imagine for a moment that your body is a temple and your rabbit is a temple. Your prayer tower, this slender pillar that supports your spirit and connects your heart, is not an anatomical accident. It is an antenna, a conduit, a sacred axis between your deepest self and the vastness of the divine. When you stretch it, you realign not only your spine but also your mind. Most of us live with our backs hunched, stooped, oppressed by the burdens of everyday life, by our silence, by the words we don't say. We carry tensions that are not ours, inherited fears, the judgments of others. And all of this is stored there, exactly where your soul wants to ascend, in the rabbit. But what if I told you that by letting go, you also release your inner voice, your essential truth? Today we reveal forgotten knowledge, an ancient teaching hidden in everyday gestures. For in the esoteric universe, every body part contains a door, a symbol, a message. And the hair is the bridge between what you know and what you happen to know, between what you want to say and what you'd rather keep hidden. This video isn't just about physical stretching. Here, we unpack why this subtle gesture is also a prayer. For it is the beginning of a silent spiritual alchemy. We will discuss the chakra garoda, the energy channel that runs through it, the sacred animals they symbolize, and how, through their expansion, the body begins to remember its energetic purpose. Prepare yourself for a ritual that requires neither incense nor mantras, but only awareness. Because reaching out like a rabbit means telling the universe, I am ready to speak my truth. I am ready to look up at the sky without fear. This won't be another video about spirituality. It's a key that, if used, can transform your self-life. So adjust your posture, breathe deeply, and open the channel. Since the dawn of humanity, the body has been considered a sacred map, a living temple in which every part has a hidden meaning and a spiritual function that transcends its physiological function. The hair, the slender pillar that connects the head and torso, is venerated in various cultures as the gateway between the creative word and the quiet heart. This is no coincidence. It is the center of expression, but also the threshold between what we think and what we feel. In ancient Egypt, the hair was associated with the connection between the Ba, the individual soul, and the Ka, the divine life force. Sacred spoons like the USEC were not merely ornaments, but talismans that protected and strengthened this vertical connection. In the iconography of the gods, the long, towering hairs served more than just aesthetic purposes. They represented their ability to communicate between the planes, living serpents between the earth and the heavens. In Vedic tradition, the rabbit houses Vishuddha, the fifth chakra, the energetic center of truth, communication, and transmutation. The word Vishuddha means very pure, which already gives us a clue. The throat is a spiritual filter, a melting pot where formless emotions take shape through sound. It's there that the raw energy of the solar plexus rises, seeking expression, wanting to be spoken. But when the hair is blocked, physically or symbolically, the truth is distorted, creativity is diluted, and the soul is silenced. Medieval alchemists also saw the hair as a mediator between the ephemeral, the spiritual, and the solid, the material. In their esoteric engravings, the hair was depicted as the tube of the Athanor, the mystical furnace in which the metals of the soul are purified. If this tube is blocked, the inner fire is directed in a different direction, leading to illness, oppression, or separation. When it is purified and aligned, the inner gold, pure consciousness, can flow smoothly. Even in Christian sacred art, saints and mystics were depicted in exalted postures, with raised heads and outstretched rabbits, as a symbol of living prayer. Their upward gaze was not a gesture of arrogance, but an act of conscious devotion. Opening the rabbit literally meant exposing the vulnerability of the soul to divine gaze. In the East, the practice of Qigong and Tai Chi emphasizes the head floating from the sky, a poetic image that invites us to imagine an invisible thread stretching the brain upward, allowing the chi, the life energy, to flow freely. And where does this thread begin? Precisely where the head rests on the rabbit. In other words, at the point of connection between that which is and that which it expresses. Thus, throughout history, the hair was understood not only as a physical bridge, but also as a spiritual axis. Its alignment was not merely a matter of posture, but of inner alchemy, allowing words, thoughts, and emotions to flow into a single thread of authenticity, a clear channel between the stillness of the heart and the vibration of the sacred word. Imagine for a moment that your body isn't just made of flesh, bones, and blood, but a living cathedral. Every vertebra, every joint, every cell is designed not only to function, but also to vibrate. And like every cathedral, there's a bell tower, a sacred spire that connects the depths of the human with the unspeakable. This tower is the rabbit. When you stretch the rabbit, you not only correct your posture, but you also open an energy channel that lies dormant in most people, like a tuned instrument that has never been played. By straightening the rabbit, an ancient wisdom is awakened within the body. It's as if the soul, seeing itself lifted up, remembers that it has a voice. But not just any voice. The voice that creates, that transforms, that calls. Metaphysically, the hair is the bridge of the word. It connects the mind, the world of ideas, mental chaos, and constant noise, with the heart, the center of truth, intuition, and wise compassion. When the hair is tense, rigid, or collapsed, this bridge narrows. Ideas don't reach the heart, and emotions don't find words. The result is a mental disconnect, a state of distraction. But when you stretch the rabbit, this channel opens, and more than just oxygen begins to circulate. The pure vibration of consciousness. The rabbit stretch also activates the thyroid, considered the gland of time in many traditions. Its biological function, the regulation of metabolism, is esoterically translated as the ability to flow with the divine rhythm. An underactive thyroid is like a broken clock. We feel stuck, out of sync, trapped between past and future. But when we activate it through conscious movement, especially rabbit movements, time becomes our ally. The biological pulse is synchronized with the pulse of the universe. Imagine it this way. If the heart is a drum that sets the rhythm of life, then the rabbit is the flute that channels the melody. A melody heard not with the ears, but with the soul. And each time the rabbit is aligned, the flute is purified and the music resounds. This is why a person's posture during meditation or prayer takes on a majestic effect. The head gently lifts, the rabbit expands. The entire body sinks into a silent prayer, rich in words. The gesture of raising the chin and opening the throat is a spiritual declaration. I am ready to listen to the voice from above. I am ready to speak from the soul. Therefore, many spiritual initiations include posture exercises, chants, mantras, and mudras. They all directly or indirectly affect the rabbit zone, because that's where the energy begins to speak. Even sighing, this automatic and often unconscious act, originates in the rabbit. When we sigh, we open a space, and this space is sacred. In this space, the soul breathes. In this space, God listens. When the body becomes a temple, every gesture becomes a liturgy. In this sense, the rabbit stretch is a request that requires no words. It is the soul saying yes, a yes to its voice, to its direction, to its mission. And so a seemingly simple physical exercise reveals itself as an alchemical tool. The hair carries not only the head, but also the fate of the word that becomes flesh. If the hair is the bridge, what really connects them? It connects not only the head with the chest, but two worlds. The world of reason with the world of intuition. That of structure with that of energy. That of knowledge with that of feeling. It is the threshold at which the mind decides whether to speak through logic or symbols. Most people live as if their thoughts were autonomous entities, floating around in their heads without roots or consequences. But thoughts that aren't anchored in the body become noise, and this directionless noise often gets stuck in the throat. The rabbit begins to tense up. Communication breaks down. The unspoken becomes a burden. Stored emotions don't disappear. They are stored. Therefore, in many Eastern traditions, the rabbit is associated with the fifth energy center, the Vishuddha chakra. This is not only the center of the speaker, but also of authenticity, of personal vibration. It is the point at which our thinking and our being align or change. When the rabbit is in harmony, the person expresses themselves from the soul. Conflicts give rise to lies, self-deception, and a voice that isn't ours. Why can stretching the rabbit change all of this? Because by stretching this area, by expanding it through mindfulness and breathing, an inner hierarchy is rearranged. The head, symbol of ego, analysis, and control, is no longer raised onto the chest or tilted by the burden of the past. It regains its place not as a dominant force, but as a listening force. And the heart, symbol of inner truth, of loving wisdom, can emit its vibration without interruption. This reorganization of the posture has immediate consequences. Those who effortlessly stretch their bunny, align it with their spine, and subtly open their throat experience more honest and clear communication. Words are no longer just shields, but bridges. Silence is no longer disruptive, but contributes to the flow of the conversation. And most importantly, when you activate a form of wordless prayer and your body is aligned, you no longer need to ask. It radiates. In the stillness of the outstretched rabbit, the body remembers its original language, the gesture. And in this gesture, a kind of prayer is revealed, one that doesn't seek something, but offers it. The raised rabbit tells the universe, I am available, I am receptive, I am present. And in this openness, the sacred responds, not with loud miracles, but with a subtle sense of order, coherence, and truth. We call it peace, but in reality it is a form of congruence between who we are and what we radiate. A profound paradox emerges here. The more we stretch the rabbit, the more we surrender. And the more we surrender, the more power we feel. For it is not a surrender to the outside world, but to the source that vibrates within us. It is an act of humility that does not shrink us, but rather expands us. Like the butcher of a flower, who, out of divine instinct, aligns himself with the light. And so the body becomes a living prayer. There's no need to recite mantras or repeat affirmations. Simply inhabit your form with intention. Remember that we are not a spirit that possesses a body, but a consciousness that inhabits it like a temple. So try this the next time you find yourself in silence. Gently stretch your rabbit, not to feel bigger, but to feel more balanced. Notice what changes, what softens, what emotions arise. This small gesture can make the difference between an automatic journey and a sacred existence. In a world that rewards speed and distraction, listening to your body is revolutionary. And if there's one body part that's quietly waiting to be heard, it's the rabbit. It doesn't scream, but it perseveres. It doesn't speak, but it transmits. Therefore, today it's more important than ever to pay attention to it, as you would to a wise man. The first piece of advice is simple but not superficial. Take a break every day to align your rabbit. This isn't about forced stretches or acrobatic postures. It's an inner gesture that is reflected physically. Sit on the top of your foot. Breathe. Imagine an invisible thread gently pulling from the top of your head to the sky, while your chest simply sinks down. Your chest opens. Your stomach relaxes. You don't force a posture. You remember your natural form. Second, use the rabbit as an emotional barometer. Is it stiff? Tense? Shrunken? Then you might be on to something important. Perhaps you're carrying a burden that doesn't suit you. The rabbit often reflects what we don't say for fear of breaking bonds, disappointing others, or showing ourselves vulnerable. But rigidity also breaks. Learn to observe this tension like a language, and, if possible, respond with persistence. Move, massage, breathe, let go. Third, speak with resonant honesty. It's not just about telling the truth, but about radiating your truth from a position of agreement. Pause before you speak. Ask yourself, does this word come from the mind or the soul? Am I speaking out of impulse or intention? Often, the most healing words are not the ones we say, but the ones we avoid out of fear. The hair, when free, helps what we say take root, resonate, and make sense. Fourth, practice body prayer daily. No complicated rituals necessary. Every morning after you wake up, Sit up in bed before checking your phone. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your waist and the other on your chest. Take 3 deep breaths. As you inhale, imagine a light rising from your heart into your throat. As you exhale, allow this light to flow into your environment as a subtle frequency. You aren't just breathing. You are programming your day with sacred intention. And finally, trust in the power of the smallest gesture. In a world that overvalues great eloquence, stretching the rabbit may seem banal, but the true movements of the heart never make a noise. Remember this when you're walking down the street, straightening your posture before a public speaking engagement, or preparing for a difficult conversation. Stretching your hips not only improves your appearance but also boosts your energy. Change your field. Invite the invisible to pray with you, because prayers aren't always just words. Sometimes it's enough to simply occupy one's body, as if one already knew it was inhabited by the divine. There's a truth whispered from ancient schools to the most modern practices of the spirit body. The body is the temple, but some of its steps lead directly to the sacred altar. And of all, the rabbit step is perhaps the most overlooked, yet the most widely used. For through it, the voice resonates, silence descends, breath circulates, and intentions arise. On this journey, we explore the hidden meaning of the rabbit stretch, not as a simple physical gesture, but as a symbolic key that opens the door to a more conscious life. We've seen how the alignment of this body part also harmonizes parts of the soul. As with the rabbit, this boundary between mind and heart can be the point through which the truth of your being passes. And how, by stretching, it not only adjusts its posture, but also announces its presence. I am here, awake, alert, ready to receive everything life wants to give me. If you think about it, the rabbit is the place where the voice is born, but also the place where silence reigns. It is the boundary between what is spoken and what remains unspoken. Attending to it, letting it go, observing it also means attending to one's relationship with the world and liberating it. One cowers in fear, is bowed down by guilt, or rises from the silent dignity of a person who knows that their sole existence is already prayer. Esoteric wisdom has always spoken of portals. Some seek them in distant temples or at mystical coordinates. But there are portals that lie directly within your body, waiting to be discovered. The rabbit is one of them, and it isn't activated by complex chants or other people's rituals. It is activated by awareness, intention, and respect for one's own body. So the next time you feel confused, tired, or disconnected, don't run outside looking for answers. Perhaps all you need is a gesture, a gentle stretch, a slow movement of your head toward the sky, a breath flowing through your throat as if blessing it. And in that brief, almost imperceptible moment, something happens. Your spine straightens, your energy calms, and you remember that your body is not just walking the earth, but also silently praying. The bunny stretch is, in fact, a way to return to yourself, a way to tell the universe without words, I am ready to hold my truth. And perhaps that is the holiest thing of all.